moved into the community in 1997. I davened in the Shul of Bal Harbor. I davened in the Mogen David Synagogue. I also davened in the Miami Beach Kollel and Beth Israel in Miami Beach.
I moved down to Surfside in 1998 because I was finishing up my career in my teaching education. We lived in Merrick, Long Island. We became members of the Mogen David Synagogue. It was a very intimate, small group of people.
I met Alan Schloss and Bernie Lack in the Mogen David Synagogue. That shul was a shtibel. Rebbetzin Molly Vine and her husband, Rabbi Isaac David Vine, began with the help of Ann Bickey and her husband of blessed memory, who funded the opening of Mogen David. The Rebbetzin, one of the secretaries to the Lubavitcher Rebbe, and she received a blessing before she came down here. I got to know Alan Schloss and Bernie Lack very well in the shul there. And we kind of all realized at the same time that this shul is too small to accommodate all the people that were there now. Have continuity of a shul that was Ashkenazic Nusach, not Nusach Ari. We had to either renovate this shul or go in another direction. We owed the Rebbetzin a lot of kavod. Her husband actually passed away when they were early on down here, and she took over the shul. She did not want to renovate. She wanted to leave it as is. Alan was a businessman. He owned a hotel on Ocean Drive, and he had a relationship with Paul Novak, who was the mayor of the community. I called Young Israel of New York, and they connected me to Rabbi Aaron Tershwell, and we want to try to open a new Young Israel shul, a shul that has a name that carries weight, that we could also mention to the town of Surfside that we're going to have to eventually sit down with as a plus for letting us do this. So that meeting with Aaron Tershwell took place, one of the moeds of Passover 1998.
When Bernie and Alan and Steve and Rabbi Tershwell were sitting in my living room, they were talking about starting a Young Israel. Rabbi Tershwell asked them, what do you foresee in the amount of people? And all three of them said, we see close to 300 to 400 families. Rabbi Tershwell just was taken aback. The founders, basically Alan, Steve, and Bernie, did a lot of legwork, and they managed to get the shul basically started.
Rabbi Tershwell's suggestion to us was the first thing that we had to do was make an appointment with the town of Surfside, with the town manager. We went to see him. We told him that we were interested in starting a Young Israel Orthodox shul in the town of Surfside. We feel that a shul that can accommodate a lot of people will be very successful. The Rebbetzin has the key to the city of Surfside. She's been here for years. But we couldn't go any further in this meeting until I propose this to the members of the town and the mayor, and we'll get back to you. We got that second meeting. The town manager laid out zoning parameters to us that we had to be in a certain place, below a certain street. So there's constant dialogue between Alan, Bernie, and I until the shul was finally opened in the Coronado. There was a mayor before Paul Novak. His name was Ben Levine. He was willing to cooperate with Bernie, and that's how Bernie wound up in the Coronado.
And I think the best thing that we can do is actually meet and greet these people and make them feel welcome. And I try to do that every time I know that there's a new person. I'll go over to them, introduce myself, and try to welcome them. And I think that's what most people try to do here, to make this community a family and make people feel welcome.
We wish the Young Israel growth in membership, accompanied by an elevation in spirituality, growth in Torah,